So now, let's say that the government decided to allocate all the rights to the village. So the village has control of the forest, and the village is able to decide if they want to sell it or not. Right? Now, let's talk again about initial allocation. And I got to find a better word than this because I'm using the word allocation twice. Okay, what I mean is, what does the village want to do before trading begins? Right? What is the optimal position before that? Okay, I guess I could just call it optimal position. Okay, all right. Anyway, you guys know what I mean. Initial allocation, let's say 80 acres. Okay, right? Remember we said we already established before 80 acres harvested. Because before trading, right, if the village, controls everything, then the village, their incentive is to harvest 80 acres. Why stop at 80? Because after 80 acres, there's no more benefit. Right? They will not stop before 80 because they can continue to gain benefit if they keep harvesting. Okay? Now, one more thing. What is their total benefit? Right? What is the total benefit that they get from harvesting 80 acres? I want to compare that a little bit later, so let's write that here first. Well, they're going to get A, B, C, and D. Right? Okay? Total benefit to the village. Okay? All right. Now, okay, so then we start negotiating here. Okay. So the way we think about this is for the 80th acre, not all 80, but just the 80th, right? For the 80th acre, how much benefit, right? And you can think revenue, right? How much money, how much revenue is the village getting for that 80th acre, for that last acre being harvested? Well, that's almost nothing, right? Let's say $1, right? They're getting almost nothing for it, okay? But how much is that costing the city, right? By harvesting that acre, how much, what's the cost to the city? Almost $240, okay? So that's quite a bit, right? So now they're allowed to trade. So then, does the city now, right, have an incentive, right, to buy that land? Well, sure. Okay, they always have an incentive. So let's say $100. Right, let's say $100 here. Right, the city says, "Hey, I'll make an offer to you." First of all, does that benefit the city? Yes, because if the city is able to buy that acre, then the city avoids $240 worth of damage, and they only have to pay $100 to avoid that. So essentially, they save themselves. Right? They save themselves. What do we see here? 140. Right? They save themselves 140. Okay. Now, will the village accept that offer? That's the critical part. Like, will they actually accept this offer? Well, yes, because for the last acre here, they only getting $1. Now they can get $100 for it, and the whole point, right? The village is just to make money, so why not, right? Why wouldn't they accept this $100? So yes, a win-win, right? Both party again are better off. So that's great. They buy an acre. Now let's keep going. Let's buy the next acre. Next acre. Is there room to negotiate? Yes, because as long as the cost to the city is higher than the benefit that the village is getting, there's going to be room, there's going to be a price in there where the city can offer, the city is willing to offer, and the village is willing to accept. Okay? And so they will keep negotiating back and forth until they get here. And now until get to 50 acres. Now, how many acres now has been sold, bought and sold? 30. Right? 30 acres so far. Okay, so that's great. The city has bought 30 acres to conserve it. Right? They're not going to sell this stuff. Oh, they don't want to harvest it. So they bought 30 acres to conserve it. Okay. Now, would they like to buy more? Sure, they would like to buy more. But are they willing to make an offer high enough that the village will accept? No, because this is the maximum amount that the village is willing to offer, right? That's how much the forest is worth to them, right? And so, this is the maximum they're willing to offer. But then the village is saying, well, wait a minute, right? I can get this much, right? If I harvest, why would I sell it to you? Okay? So then the village will harvest. So the village end up start harvesting 50 acres, which is the optimal that we wanted, right? So from a societal perspective, that is the optimal that we want. Now, remember I said, right, through negotiation, what price do they actually land on for each of them? We're not sure. That depends on their negotiating skills. But we can make a statement on the average price that they eventually negotiated to. So let's make the problem a little bit simple. Suppose that every acre has the same price, then we can say the average price. Right, so the price per acre, right, is going to be 150. Okay, sorry, this 140 is a little misleading. 150 here, right? It's the same, like $150 per acre. How many acres sold? 30. 30 acres sold, right? From who to whom? Right? Well, from the village, right? Because the village has the rights to the city. Okay, all right, let's tally up their welfare. Gain and loss or cost. Okay, now does the city gain anything? Does the city receive any payment? Well, in this case, no, right? None. Okay. But what does the city cost? What did it cost them? Right? Well, we have two parts. One, 50 acres is still harvested. There is still that environmental damage. What is that? That is C. So minus C. Okay. However, right, they also paid $150 for 30 acres. What area represents that? $150 for 30 acres. That's this part back here, minus D and minus E. So net wise, right, the city minus C minus D minus E. Now you say, well, wait a minute, why? That's horrible, right? They just lost, right? They just pay everything. Why would they even bother why would they deal with this transaction? Okay, but think about where they would be if they didn't have the ability to buy the right. What would be their total cost? Right, the total damage. Well, think about it. Right, we say that, well, the initial allocation. Again, I really don't like this word. I gotta find it. The initial position. How about this? Let's call this position. Okay, let's call it initial position. Right? The village want to harvest 80 acres. Right? And without trading, without the ability to buy, the village will harvest 80 acres. What will be the cost to the city? Right? What will be the cost to the city if 80 acres were harvested? C, D, E, and F. Through the transaction, right? Because now the property rights are able to be traded, they avoided F. Right? F, right, is this damage that benefited nobody, right? Right, then right, it's completely avoided. Okay, now let's look at the village. What do they gain? Okay, well, village gain from two parts. One, they harvest the 50 acres, so they gain A, B, C. That's their revenue, right? Their benefit. But now, right, giving up the 30 acres, they gain plus D and E. That's the welfare transfer. That's the transfer of wealth from the city to the village. Now think about it. Before, they would have only gotten A, B, C, and D. Now they got A, B, C, D, and E. Right? So they're much better off. Did it cost them anything? No. Because, well, they don't incur any cost in the first place, and they have the property rights. So now they're net A, B, C, D, and E. And let's add them up. The net together, the C, D, E cancels out, and we'll get A plus B. Right? And we still get, right, that is the Coase theorem. We get the optimal outcome, which is 50 acres, and we get the maximum social welfare gain, which is A plus B. Right? Compare the two, right? The result is the same regardless of who we've allocated the rights to. Okay? But welfare transfer is important, right? Because there are going to be clear winners and losers between the two parties. Here, the village came out to be a big winner here. For those of you interested, you can look at comparative allocation. Right? These are just, we have numbers here, so these are just the triangles and rectangles. Okay, and you guys are capable of calculating the area for that. Okay? The key here is it doesn't matter who you allocate the rights to, the total social outcome or social gain is going to be 10,000. And this is A plus B for both.